Recording progress.
Warm welcome. Today we are going to see a new pioneer of the pediatrics. Last video we have seen the first pediatrician from the India, that is the Dr. George Coelho. Now this time we are going to see the next pillar of the Indian pediatrics is the Dr. K.C. Choudhary. Myself, Dr. Sunil Natha Maske, working as a dean and professor in pediatrics at Dr. Vittalrao Vikhe Patil Foundation's Medical College and Hospital, Ahmednagar. Dr. K.C. Choudhary, who was born in 1901 in Calcutta, whose name was Kishordi Chandra Choudhary. He is a really inspiring pillar of the Indian pediatrics. He established the first independent Indian journal related to the pediatrics is known as Indian Journal of Pediatrics. We will see brief about this journal. Late Dr. K.C. Choudhary launched the Indian Journal of Pediatrics, the first independent pediatric journal in India and probably in Asia in October 1933. Dr. Choudhary was the editor and there was an all India editorial board for the journal. The journal brought Indian pediatricians in contact with the outside the world. The felt need of the pediatric journal is evident from the remarks of the late Sir Sarkar, who is the well-known pediatrician, Dr. Sir Neil Ratna Sarkar. He has written forward for the first issue of Indian Journal of Pediatrics. He stated that as regards journals, there are none in the subject in India. If the future of the nation really depends upon the welfare of the child, it is necessary that steps should at once be taken to impress upon the people and the profession the necessity of providing for the protection and safety of the child in every possible way. This was the statement made by the Sarkar regarding this Indian Journal of Pediatrics. From 1932, in which year this journal was established, to 1953, the journal was published quarterly manner. Later on in 1954, it becomes bi-monthly journal, and in 1956, it will become a monthly journal. Now it is published from New Delhi by Dr. I.C. Verma and his colleagues. The next pillar or a milestone related with the Dr. K.C. Choudhary's work in Indian pediatrics is the forming the Indian Pediatric Society. Dr. Choudhary also started the Indian Paediatric Society in 1948. By 1958, the Indian Paediatric Society had organized 9 national pediatric conferences in different cities in India. The event ushered in a new era for organized pediatrics in India. It was the earliest recognition in India of the necessity for institution catering for the child health. The Indian Paediatric Society hosted the first All-Asian Congress of Pediatrics in Delhi in 1961. Dr. K.C. Choudhary was the chairman of the organizing committee and Dr. Sisir K. Bose, secretary of the society, was appointed as Secretary General of the conference. So this is the second milestone after the Indian Journal of Pediatrics related with the Dr. K.C. Choudhary is the Indian Paediatric Society. And third very important work which was done by Dr. K.C. Choudhary is in the form of Institute of Child Health. What Dr. K.C. Choudhary had in mind was not only a children's hospital, but an institute with integrated services, promotive, preventive, curative services for children, and also a center for teaching and research where the child would be considered in his totality. That means his emotional, intellectual, and physical needs, as well as his relation to the milieu. Dr. K.C. Choudhary set forth for the first time the concept of positive and total child care in India. The foundation stone of the Institute of Child Health was laid on 12th August 1954, and the Corporation of Calcutta sanctioned the plan to build a small L-shaped building covering 11,000 square foot area for OPD and IPD. Later on, the construction of building started on 14th April 1955 by the corporation's permission. The Institute of Child Health was set up by Dr. K.C. Choudhary, the Doyen of Indian Pediatrics in Kolkata by 1956. His efforts got the due recognition when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India, inaugurated this institute on 16 January 1957. This institute was the dream project of late Dr. K.C. Choudhary. When pediatrics was not considered as a separate specialty, it is the first pediatric institute of India. It has a distinction of being the first pediatrics institute of India. Subsequently, several other stalwarts like Dr. Sisir Kumar Bose, Dr. S.P. Ghoshal, Dr. U.C. Chakravarti, the father of pediatrics of surgery in India, Dr. Chakravarti, and many others dedicated their careers to this hospital without any reciprocation to serve the less privileged sections of the society at minimal cost and provided them quality medical care. This was the motto of this foundation. This institute continues to offer medical and surgical services to the ailing and especially underprivileged children of the society. A new era for organized pediatrics in India began as a result of the incident. It was the first time in India that the need for institution that care for children health was acknowledged. Dr. K.C. Choudhary had in mind not only a children's hospital, but also a center for teaching and research where the child would be taken into account in his or her entirety, taking into account their emotional, intellectual, physical, and social requirement as well as their relationship with the environment. In India, Dr. K.C. Choudhary introduced the idea of comprehensive and positive child care for the first time, where he served additionally newborn along with the pediatrics. This is about the Institute of Child Health. So three milestones which are very important with this pillar person in the related with the pediatrics. First one, Indian Journal of Pediatrics, then Indian Pediatric Society and Institute of Child Health. The further information regarding Dr. K.C. Choudhary that the Association of Pediatrics of India, which was started in Bombay in 1950 by Dr. George Coelho, who made the members only pediatricians and those interested in pediatrics as associate members. The Indian Pediatric Society, however, had a number of non-pediatricians as ordinary members. Dr. Coelho was the opinion that the policies regarding the teaching service and the research in pediatrics should be decided by pediatricians only. But Dr. Chaudhary, on the other hand, has the opinion that all medical personnel, including general practitioners who were interested in pediatrics, should be made ordinary member of the Indian Pediatric Society. So this was the just short conflict of interest in the both the organization and in the mind of both the stalwarts. So they had started organization of independent and separate conferences for pediatricians. Dr. Coelho decided to establish annual conference of Association of Pediatricians of India in collaboration with various specialty organizations like cardiologists, neurologists, hematologists, and other internal medical disciplines. He felt that this would help influence the status of pediatrics as a separate discipline with senior medical professions of the country, who were the decision makers in the field of medical decision. Whereas Dr. K.C. Choudhary was totally opposite to Dr. George Coelho. He thought that the pediatricians of India should have separate independent annual conference of their own. He felt that conducting a separate annual meeting of pediatricians would help to establish pediatrics as an independent discipline. This was the thought of Dr. K.C. Choudhary. Considering the difference and ideas in approach of by two senior pediatricians, the younger generation of pediatricians had decided that it was necessary to unite the voice of all the pediatricians across the India by the common bond of National Pediatrics Body. The Pediatric Society, that is the Indian Pediatric Society, at its annual conference at Jaipur in December 1961, adopted a resolution proposing the constitution of single all India organization, representative of India at its annual conference in Indore in 1962, also responded in a similar way. A joint committee was held between these two societies of the Dr. George Coelho and Dr. K.C. Choudhary, where the committee members were Dr. Bose, Dr. Harishchandra, Dr. Ghasal, Dr. Manchanda, Dr. Patel, Dr. Rao, Dr. Shanti Seth, Dr. Taneja, Dr. P.M. Udani, and Dr. J.K.G. Webb. This committee held the first meeting in Hyderabad in March 1962, and where the Dr. Shishir Bose was elected as a convener. And they formulated the certain common things in between these two bodies, so that they have further meeting in Hyderabad in 1963, and where the draft of this common association was formed, and it was approved and forwarded to both the societies, that is the Indian Pediatric Society and Association of Pediatricians of India, for their acceptance. Later on, both the society has decided to unite, and single unitary body was formed regarding the pediatricians of all over the India. There is the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, which is now functioning all over the world. All the pediatricians, all are its member. But when this single body was formed by combining these two associations, the first national conference of this Indian Academy of Pediatrics was held in Pune in 1964, and at that time it was attended by 300 delegates, where Dr. Mudula Phadke was the organizing secretary, with Dr. L.S.N. Prasad as the first president of Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Dr. Shanti Seth as a general secretary, and Dr. P.M. Udani as a treasurer. Dr. George Coelho and Dr. K.C. Choudhary, along with Dr. S.T. Achar, were invited to give special guest lectures at Pune conference. This is how Dr. George Coelho's and Dr. K.C. Choudhary's, both the association were united as a single Indian Academy of Pediatrics. In short, Dr. George Coelho and Dr. K.C. Choudhary, there are certain slight differences of opinion was there, but aim was same only. That's why Dr. K.C. Choudhary of Pillar Indian Pediatrics was in the opinion that what is the point in doing unnecessary research when millions of our children are dying of preventable disease? We must first offer them the basic minimum. This was his thought and opinion. After attending and caring for thousands of children with all the kindness, tenderness, and eagerness by establishing India's first pediatric institute of child health, Dr. K.C. Choudhary wanted to do more for the country children before his death, and he did it till his last dying breath. His devotion and sincerity are still carried out by the institution today, after 38 years of his passing, in providing positive and complete child health care to all, and especially to the underprivileged children. This noteworthy stalwart of the pediatrics, Dr. K.C. Choudhary, died in 1973. Thank you.